Hi everybody and welcome to the 10th episode of the MyMuddlings podcast. Today is the 17th of October and my name is Julianne and I'd like to welcome new and returning visitors to my podcast. Now, let's see, did I have anything to do in housekeeping before I start? I think probably the only thing that I have is my 100 subscriber giveaway that is going on over in my Ravelry group at the My Muddlings podcast Ravelry group. I'm offering up a skein of your choice of hand-dyed yarn from my shop and I'll send that anywhere in the world. So if you'd like to be in the running, please head over there. There is a thread. Just leave me a comment in there. I've had some really lovely comments. I'm not replying back at this stage because I'm trying to keep it just the entries. But I've had some really lovely comments in there and yeah, so if you'd like to win some yarn, head over there. It's my thank you to all of the people who are supporting me on this podcast. Probably the only other thing that I probably want to talk about, I've noticed recently that my viewers numbers have dropped on my videos, and I've seen that some other YouTubers are having very similar issues, and apparently it's all down to YouTube's new algorithms or something like that, and people aren't actually getting the notifications of the new video uploads. So I believe there's a little alarm bell icon on the videos down where the subscribe button is. So if you have found that you've not been getting the notifications and you've subscribed to my podcast, please just hit that alarm bell and hopefully that should fix the issue and you will get a notification when I do upload. At this stage I'm doing it every week, so definitely there should be something coming out probably every Tuesday is usually when it gets released. So yeah, if you're not getting the notifications, definitely try that out and try pressing that little alarm bell button. And thank you for subscribing, all of my subscribers. It's really lovely. I think that's probably all of the sort of housekeeping sort of stuff that I have at this stage. So I may as well get on to some knitting. And I have 3 finished objects for you this week. And I'll start with some socks. These were actually a whip that I've had going for quite a while. I can't actually remember when I started them. I probably should look that up, but it's fine. And these are just some vanilla socks. These are part of my box of socks cal and my Just One More Row 12 in 16 cal. And the prompt this month for the Just One More Row is to finish up a whip if you like. So I had these going. I'll put the nice one on the front. This one's been sitting on my shelf for a while and it's upright on the sock blocker on my shelf. So it's got a little bit squidgy. Collapsed a little bit because it is 100% bamboo yarn. So it's obviously very drapey. And the fact that I have knit these so far apart as well as I probably had some slight gauge differences and things like that, so it may actually just be shorter, but I think it's just saggy. So we'll put that one down. So this was just what my original vanilla sock was. Start at the cuff down, 12 rounds, go for 6.5 inches, do my 17 sets of slip stitch heel flap, heel turn, gusset decreases back down to 64, and then just a wedge toe. And I go down to 12 stitches, or 24 stitches total. So yeah, I didn't really want to knit these. I'm kind of, like I said, my sock mojo is a little bit absent at the moment. Possibly because of the cals and having to complete at least 1 pair of socks per month. But at least we're at October. I'm done for October and there's only 2 months left, so my god, it's nearly the end of the year. Yeah, I should be able to nut out those last 2 pairs and then I can give myself a rest next year. I don't think I'm going to do this again next year. So yes, this was bamboo from Bendigo Woolen Mills. The colour is Dusty Plum and it's pretty well right on my screen. And I used 292 yards for the pair, and I used my High 2.5mm sharp 9-inch circulars to knit these. So yeah, not really much to say. Basic vanilla sock. I chose to knit some socks out of bamboo because I have had multiple people tell me that bamboo socks are really nice to wear. So I haven't worn them yet. I only just finished this last sock this morning. I cast it on Friday and I finished it this morning, so that's pretty good to get that whip done and get my entry in for October in the cows. So that's that one. And other ones, you probably, if you follow me on Instagram, will definitely have seen. I got a lot of really positive, tons of likes on these. And these are the Gather Hat, which is by Tin Can Knits. And if you remember, I was going to knit one of these for my new niece. And I loved the colourway that I made for my birthday so much that I decided to knit some gather hats, and these are in DK. So this is my DK base, and this is in my birthday surprise colourway. And there is still some of this in the shop. I actually have another skein of DK, which is exactly the same dye lot as this, so you will get something very similar to this if you decide to purchase that. So yeah, this pattern is really fun. You can just see on the back, how the colour goes. It's very fairly varied. It doesn't have a lot of splashing and pooling and things like that. So yeah, it's this really awesome little like smock stitch on the front, and I've never done anything quite like that. And I thought it was be a lot harder than it actually was. And I just love how it makes just the little diamond shapes. I think it's so fun. So this is the one for me, and I think what did I use? 120 yards of DK for that one. It's so squishy. And this is the little one for my new baby niece. So this is just the baby size. It's pretty small. And yeah, so it's just the same thing in the same yarn. And I think that's going to look really sweet. I was really, I think I said, happy with the way that this yarn turned out. The DK batch that I didn't have as much grey come through. The others are grey. It was meant to be grey with speckles, but this actually turned out to be speckles with a touch of grey in behind. So if you see the other birthday surprise in my shop, which is www.mymuddlings.etsy.com, you'll see that the other birthday surprise is quite grey with the speckles, whereas this is this is more speckles than grey. So yeah, so that's my gather hats, and that's one of my projects for the baby out of the way, which is good because I've added yet another thing to that list, which I'll tell you about when I talk about what I've been dyeing this week. So that's all my finished objects. Works in progress. I've put away my Astonish top that I spoke about last week, simply because I have quite a bit of sort of deadline and obligatory knitting that needs to be done. So I'm going to keep projects for myself down until I can get things completed. Probably the only thing that I'm going to cast on for myself is I have a design cooking in my head for a shawl. So I was thinking I might start working on that. And then, because I've been wanting to do a knit along in my group, and I sort of thought, well, I've got all these design ideas in my head, why don't I write a pattern and then we can have a knit along. So yeah, that's probably something that I will cast on. But other than that, I have been working on my Amma grocery? Got groceries on the brain. I've got to go grocery shopping this afternoon. Amma Granny Square top. I finished one side. So that's one square done. And the edge, it just has this row of double crochets that go all around. So just a nice finish it off. And then I think the armholes and the neckline and even the bottom has just that again. Once I put it together. So that's my first half. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's lovely, shiny yarn. And it's very drapey and nice and light, so that'll be really nice. And I am that far into my second half. So I think I'm approximately halfway on this one. And I started my second ball because I actually used, I think, 65 grams of the first ball to make the first half. So I just broke into the second ball because I don't know about you, but when I'm crocheting, I don't like ends because I find even if I weave them in, they do tend to find their way back out, so I thought it would probably be best just to start that second piece with the new ball so that I can have one continuous piece of yarn. And then the only ends I have to deal with are the middle from the magic circle and magic loop, not magic loop, what do they call it? Magic ring from the centre, and then the one on the outside, and then whatever ends I have seaming it together. So my wrists have been a bit bad lately. I am wearing my wrist guards on both hands every night, so I've given the crochet a rest for the last couple of days, so I haven't actually worked on this for a few days, but obviously I did finish that first half during the week. So that's my Amma crochet top. And what else do I have? I will talk about this, because this actually, have a look at this little dude. How cute is he? Isn't he gorgeous? And he is called a Dream Drop. And this was a pattern by, I can't remember who it was. I'll put it in the down bar. But she seems to have disappeared from the internet. The pattern is no longer, it's on Ravelry, but you can't download the pattern anymore. And I was like, I love these. Like, when I've got a little bit, I make them out of DK because I have a sock yarn, a couple of sock yarn, or 3 sock yarn blankets going. I have a worsted weight blanket going. And I sort of thought, well, I don't need another DK weight blanket for my scraps. So I've been making these little dream drops out of some scraps that I have. And I've got 3 of them at the moment, and they just sit up. I've got a big desk that my dad made for me, and I've just have them sitting on the shelf up there. So I had some of my birthday surprise yarn left over, and it would have been enough to make a dream drop. So I went to find the pattern, and it's gone. And I was really disappointed, and I'm checking all of my online storage where I usually keep all my patterns and things, and I hadn't saved it to my own storage. And Simon's like, oh, well, you should always do that. And it's like, oh god, if I did that for everything that I have in my Ravelry library, I'd probably have to be buying lots and lots of storage space. So basically what I have done is I've just made my own. So I haven't quite finished him yet, and it's only because I'm too lazy to go and get my stuffing out of the top of my wardrobe in my study. So laziness is what's keeping this little dream drop from fully realising its little life in my life. So I think I've done fairly well. I haven't done it exactly the same as the original, because I know she had some interesting sort of increase frequencies, and I guess that's probably to get that more of an oval shape, whereas this one will probably be quite round. And I basically just used increases like Stacey Trock from Fresh Stitches does when she makes her crochet toys. So yeah, this one's probably going to be a little bit rounder than this one, but I'm sure they'll be fairly close. So if you do like these and they're pretty cute, I happily write out the way I'm doing this second one so that you can make them, and they're just so cute for scraps. And I've just got some eyes that I got from, I think it was the 6060 shop on Etsy, and they're just like little, these are just little iridescent blue eyes. So yeah, that's my little dream drop, and hopefully when I can pull my finger out and go and get some stuffing, I can finish this one. So that's another work in progress. And I think the last thing that I've been working on, because like I said, I am being a little bit better with working on just a couple of projects at a time instead of having a million on the go, although I think I'm going to have to cast on a few of some dyed yarn that I have sitting here just in order to get things done. But what I've done here, and this I'll talk about a bit more of this in spinning, but I've started my Dogwood Blanket, which is for my new niece as well. So I started this square yesterday, and I think I'm about 4 rounds from being finished. I was hoping to have this finished and blocked to show you, but that just didn't happen. But I did get a finished sock, so you know, swings and roundabouts. Yeah, so this is the Dogwood Blanket, which is also by Tin Can Knits. and it's lace, and there's like a little leaf motif in there, and it's worked center out, and it will create, I mean, looking at this, it looks like it's going to be a fairly big square, and I'm knitting this out of my own hand spun, which I will talk about in a second. So yeah, this actually was really hurting my hands, and I'm wondering whether, even though I think the yarn is approximately, I mean, the pattern calls for a worsted weight, and I think that's pretty well what I've got, because it is very puffy, and when I knit with it, it does thin out a little bit, with just because of the tension that gets put on it. But yeah, this was really hurting my hands, and I don't know whether it's just because I had it on a 17-inch circular and there was too many stitches, because obviously there's a lot of stitches. I've moved up to 22-inch or 24-inch. These are my higher interchangeables. I was knitting on just the generic fixed circular that I have. But yeah, I don't know, it could be the weight as well, because it is a worsted drawer hand spun, so it's fairly dense. So it could just be the weight of it as well holding it up. But yeah, I think it's turning out nice. I can't wait to see what it looks like blocked, because obviously lace, it's a 2-ply that's sort of lightly spun. Well, not lightly spun, but it's just balanced. So which is really good for lace, because it'll help all those yarn overs open up. So I really am looking forward to having this finished and blocked. And with this blanket, because it's basically tiles that get seamed together, I was thinking I would put all the stitches on hold and then do like a 3-needle bind off, and then do a border around the outside. So yeah, so that's my first Dogwood Blanket square, and I'm using my little stitch marker from Owl About Yarn, and progress keeper, shall I say. So yeah, that's my first Dogwood Blanket square, and it's you know, it looks very complex, but it's not really. It's quite fun to knit, but I do need to have a chart. I do have a Knit Picks chart keeper, which is around here somewhere. Just as the magnets, and I can put the magnet on the line that I'm up to. So that's my Dogwood Blanket. So next I'll get onto some spinning, seeing I've been talking about it, and that was, I actually finished the whole project of the 400 grams that I had of the yarn for the Dogwood Blanket. So as I said, this is just a 2-ply, approximate a worsted weight, and this was from some Bendigo Woolen Mills Ready Spin that I had, that I hand dyed myself, and it's sort of a cornflowery blue. So this one I have 705 yards of, and the pattern calls for, I think, 750 yards of a worsted weight. So I've got 700, and I very rarely ever use as much as what a pattern says, and it's probably all down to my gauge and things like that, or overestimation by the designer, who knows. So yeah, I've got 700 grams of this one, and I finished a skein on the weekend. I don't think I put dates on them, but yes, so that one was finished. That was I was inspired to finish this off partly because the baby is due in a couple of months, and partly because Rachel over at Welford Pearls is having a fall spin along to clear off your bobbins. So I still had some of this on bobbins, so I finished it off. So yeah, so 705 yards of a 2-ply worsted weight. So that's that bit of spinning, and the other, you can probably see behind me, I finished my tea rose. Now this is the one that I was spinning for the Citadel cardigan by Hohi Locatelli. So there's all of my schemes. There's a couple of little ones here. Well, that was my 2-ply leftovers, so that was all I had left on the two bobbins. I got 1971 yards. So there we go. Look at that. That was 1 kilo of fibre. So that's more than enough for me to make my Citadel cardigan, because I think I need just under 1800 yards. So I should have tons. and I think it came out fairly consistent. I was pretty happy with the way it came out. I did make a spinner control card so that I could see how many treadles per draft and per ply draft and things like that, with some samples of my singles. And so yes, this is just a traditional 3-ply. So I made them approximately, I was aiming for 150 gram skeins. So yeah, some are more than that, some are less than that. This one's 155 grams and 306 yards. But yeah, so this is all ready. I'm trying very, very hard not to cast on, because that's all I want to do is just wind this up and cast it on. But I have so many other things that I need to finish. This isn't happening. I have to put it away so that it's not under my nose and I'm not tempted to start casting that on. But that's my spinning. And I was pretty pleased with that. So I think I got 3 skeins finished this week. 2 of the tea rose and 1 of the cornflower dogwood blue ones. So yeah, other than that, it's probably just what I've been dyeing and a little tiny shop update, because I've actually run out of blank yarn. Because I ran out, I've only got a little bit, and at least two of these skeins are spoken for. So I'll talk about the ones that I will be knitting, the 2 that I will definitely be knitting. And the first one is this one. It's just some grey with splashes of purple. And this is on my bamboo sock, which is 75% merino, 20% bamboo and 5% silk. So it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, and it's lovely soft grey with the purple flecks. And this will be for the project that I alluded to earlier, another one for my niece, which will be the Clara dress. And I have to do some more investigation, but apparently that's an old Norwegian traditional pattern. And sorry, Siri for some reason has come on my iPad. Turn her off. Yeah, so apparently, I think it was Stitched in Sweden. I saw something on her podcast, or her show notes. I have to actually watch the podcast, but she was saying that it's a traditional Norwegian pattern, and she links to the pattern that's been put online. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but it was only available by whoever it was that decided to release the pattern. It was only available as a kit initially, and now I can only find it as a paper copy of the pattern, and it doesn't ship here. So it's not a Ravelry download or anything like that. But yeah, Stitch in Sweden, I think, is it Maria? I don't know, I don't watch her podcast, so I'm not 100% sure of her name. I only know from other podcasters. Yeah, I think she knit it, and she's linked to some scans of the Norwegian pattern. So I'm going to just use that Norwegian pattern that I found, and I'm going to knit up a Clara dress out of this. So it should be really pretty with the grey and the splashes of purple. I think on the project page she's also linked to, because I think the pattern is only for 6 months to 12 months, and there's she's also linked to somebody who can who gives instructions for sizing up and things like that. So I think the original size calls for 100 grams of yarn, so that's what I have here. So I was thinking I would probably do the 6 to 12 month size. It has just started raining really hard here. I hope you can't hear that. You probably have noticed the lighting change as I'm talking. It's coming down really hard all of a sudden. So yes, that's my yarn for the Clara dress. And then the other is actually something that I forgot. I think it was back in August, I got an earburn on Ravelry from the Eva Christie Hand Knits board, inviting me to take part in a podcaster Christmas sock knit along. And I agreed, because I thought, hey, that sounds pretty cool. And then I forgot about it promptly. And seeing as it's 2 months away, not even from, or just over 2 months away from Christmas, she sent another message along going, hey, what was your foot size, so that I can tell the person, because it's all going to be secret, I can tell the person who's knitting you socks what size to knit them. And I went, oh jeez, I forgot about that. So anyway, I've been told who the person is that I am knitting for. I am not going to say that on here, just in case it gets back to that person. but I have their foot size for their sock size. So I have hand dyed a skein of yarn. I had a look on their project pages just to see what their sort of favourite colours are, and I started with the base of grey because I saw quite a bit of grey on there. And then what I've done is my temporary name for this was Christmas lights, because what I was aiming for is to have speckle, like as I knit the socks, the colours, the speckles that are in there will come up as little blips. And I've got yellow, red and grey, green on the grey. So this hasn't been reskeined, so I mean once it gets reskeined it probably, I'll show you in a little bit because I did 2 skeins at once. So I was initially going to call this Christmas lights, but because of the grey I kind of want to call it Bah Humbug, I think, just because it's because it's nice and gloomy. But yeah, I'm hoping these will make really nice socks, and this is just my sock yarn, which is 75% merino, 20% nylon. So yeah, these will be for a pair of socks for my Christmas sock swap, podcaster sock swap. So I will keep you posted. I've got a couple of patterns in mind, despite the one that I really want to knit. It's like $6 US for a sock pattern, and I think that's a little bit expensive for a sock pattern. But yeah, I might still do that, or I will try and create my own. Not necessarily copy that one, but just make something Christmassy on my own, or I'll just do vanilla socks. I haven't decided yet, but that's the 2 that I have dyed for myself. And for the shop update, I will very quickly run through that because I'm getting close to 30 minutes, and I don't like to do it too long because it's hard for me to upload. But this is my Christmas lights that's been reskeined, and this is on DK, and that will be in the shop on Wednesday night at 7 PM Australian Central Standard Time. So you can see the colours are a little bit more distributed there. And then the only other things that I have is these, and I'm calling this velour jacket because I had a velour jacket that was very much this colour. And these were actually, these started out a bit closer to that Clara yarn, but I wasn't happy with it because it wasn't what I was aiming for, because everything's experimental really at this point in time. So I overdyed them, and I didn't actually overdye them in purple, I overdyed them in black and red, but it went purple, so go figure. So you can still see a little bits of the under layer of grey in them. So these are velour jacket. I've got one on sock and one on DK, so that'll be in the shop update. I feel like I've been really scatterbrained today, and I apologise if I've been all over the place. But that's all I've got to talk about today, so I will leave you here. Happy crafting, have a lovely week, and please find me online. All of my details will be at the end in the credits. So yeah, thank you for joining me, and have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.